How you doing? How you doing? How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Patty, and I appreciate you stopping by today. And we're gonna keep kind of following the theme that we have the last like two videos, where we're trying to point out some stuff and give some more updated information for SEA players that are just joining the community. So hey, first off, welcome to the party, guys. Love having y'all here. Let me know if you guys have any specific questions, down in the comment section. People that have been playing the game for months and months, if you guys want to share any class tips that you found down in the comment section, I'd really appreciate that. And the new players would absolutely appreciate that. I have a long running philosophy that I absolutely love the sharing of information. So anytime somebody comes out here and types a little paragraph in my comment section, my heart gets all warm and fuzzy. So I appreciate y'all. If y'all want to do that and help some of the new players, I'd really appreciate that too. And if you didn't see our video that we did yesterday, it's kind of a new player introduction guide. We kind of go into the classes a little bit and where they're strong, and where they're kind of weak and everything like that. So we don't want to spend too much time on that today. Essentially, what I kind of want to go over is just some general tips for, how you do your cores, how you do your gear transfers and everything, and how between the two of those things is you actually, start to develop your build and what kind of stats and everything you're prioritizing. Because you can go down a couple of different paths and everything. So we just want to go over a little bit of that stuff and everything. So gonna just leave the fighter running in the background while we rant about stuff. I wish I had the time to put together a bunch of infographics for all of this. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna just show you my second monitor. I'm gonna be real trashy with it. Yeah, there we go. And then we'll just put this off to the side a little bit so you can kind of see me bullying people in the background. See, that's almost content, right? Yeah. Yeah, good job, Patty. This ain't broke boy YouTubing at all. No, not Patty. No. Also got a new pretty hat, by the way. If you guys don't recognize this symbol, this is from the Corridor crew. They make a bunch of VFX stuff and have been around on YouTube forever. I just found them recently with their VFX Artist React series, and it is now getting me into playing with After Effects and trying to get into some VFX stuff myself. So yeah, they're kind of inspiring me to do some new stuff with the channel and learn some new skills. So just wanted to, buy a little bit of their merch, put that on display. Appreciate those guys. Definitely check them out. And yeah, so let's go ahead and get into what these little scrambles of words we got here. So first off, let's talk about Blademasters a little bit. There's basically like two variations for most everybody's core. Assassins and Soul Dancers have a little variety. Soul Dancers have the most variety. I've seen tons of different ways people have focused on their core in that, but these are the most popular two, so that's why we went ahead and went with these. But so for Blademaster, you want 9 fire, 5 water, and 2 wind. So why are any of those things important? Well, if you didn't see our video yesterday, your core stats basically break down into these stats that you're getting, and these are pretty important to keep an idea of and know what is good for your class. So just a little word to the wise, definitely go check out our video from yesterday where we talk about that a little bit more. And then the next thing that I want to talk about is gear transfers. So the gear that you're trying to get on your stat when you get new pieces, and how you're evaluating, what do I want on here? What things are going to be valuable for me, and which things am I going to be okay with not grabbing? And basically that whole process. We do have a video that we put out a couple of months ago when we dug into this a little bit more, but feel free to check that out. We're going to kind of go over how I personally prioritize all the class stats. So Blademaster, we're just going to go right down the list here: AP, crit, CDR, and multi-strike. They do not have enough AoE for multi-strike to really benefit them all that much, but they can benefit from it. It's not a bad stat, but it's not one you're going to go out of your way to get as a Blademaster, in my opinion. Okay. AP is armor penetration, and it is going to boost the attack damage that you are actually doing to the target. Crit is obviously going to make you crit and do more damage, and then cooldown rate is important. Important versus multi-strike, just for getting some of your longer skill cooldowns down, and just speeding up slightly some of your quicker attacks and everything. So Blademasters definitely do a pretty good job of everything that they do. When it comes to their secondary stats and the stuff that you want to start thinking about transferring, you can focus defense, and that will do you very, very, very well in the long run. So physical attack obviously is the number one thing that you want to get, because that's going to make you do more damage with everything else. Reason that I put physical damage and then fire attack way before that I'm putting magic defense up is because as a Blademaster, you are going to have control and the ability to bully a lot of the caster classes. So magic defense isn't as important for you as physical defense is, because your most challenging opponent in PvP is going to be other Blademasters. So you really, really want that physical defense, boo. And then your fire attack is the only elemental attack that you want as Blademaster. Quick spiel about elemental attack damage: only affects the class that, you know, it applies to. If you're a Blademaster and you get a bunch of water attack damage, it's doing absolutely nothing for you, boo. You only can use fire attack, but you can use all of the elemental defenses. And we'll talk a bit about that in a second. Crit res is very, very important. This is essentially resilience against taking critical strikes. And as a Blademaster, again, fighting other Blademasters, and, you know, potentially being nuked from afar, this is going to be pretty important for you. This stat is pretty easy to overlook, in my opinion, but it really, really, really brings it home. You want fire defense more than any of the other defenses, in my opinion, for the same logic that you want physical defense more than anything else, because your biggest threat is going to be other Blademasters. So you want to have the ability to outlast them, and, you know, if you can live longer than them, then it doesn't matter if they do a little bit more damage than you, because they're still going to end up dead at your feet because you have the ability to live longer. So it's definitely wise to invest in some of that. And if you can outlast other Blademasters, you can probably outlast a lot of other classes. So yeah, my 2 cents on all of that. Let's go ahead and get into the assassin real quick. Make sure that my food delivery isn't about to show up. Ooh, it might. Okay, so we'll have to do this a little faster. Going into the assassin next. I've seen these 3 variations pretty frequently, which is why I'm putting all 3 up here. But it's either 9 wind, 5 fire, 2 water, 9 fire, 5 wind, 2 water, or 9 water, 5 fire, and 2 wind. MS, crit, AP, and CDR are how I basically rate the importance of their substats. The amount of AoE and splash damage that they have makes multi-strike the biggest win for them in the world. You just see all these numbers popping up all the time once you really start investing in your MS as an assassin. I thought I was being slick real early game and invested heavily into CDR. And some people find success with that, because we can see a lot of people running the 9 water build. But I personally, with my setup and all my allies and everything, saw a lot more damage being pumped out when I switched to focus MS. So turns out the game knows actually what's correct. Imagine that. Oh, my bad. Let's put the little fighting robot back in the corner here, guys. All right, so their substats are pretty straightforward, in my opinion. The reason that AP isn't higher on this list is that it doesn't affect your hunter form, which is like your ranged mage kind of form, your shadow forms when you go in stabby. AP only affects your stabby form, so that's why it doesn't win out against crit. And plus, crit, you know, helps with multi-strike and all that fun stuff. So CDR is, all of your skills are on a pretty short cooldown, and like especially like shadow, a lot of your skills can reset your other skills. So it's just not as important to me to focus CDR really with assassins. When it comes to their substats and the stuff that you're trying to go for when you're doing your gear transfers: magic attack, magic defense, earth attack, crit res, physical defense, elemental defense. Nothing super crazy here. You don't necessarily need to stack one type of elemental defense here like we want to do with Blademasters. Getting what you can get on this is pretty okay. You definitely want to focus on, you know, damage more than anything else. There's not really a survivable edge to assassins. You know, I've seen people suggest, oh, build them tanky. No. 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 Even if you heavily invested into tanky stats and everything, you would still get, you know, beaten up and bullied by like even in like the general average Blademaster. So it's not going to give you far enough of an edge for it to be more beneficial than going for a high burst damage and using things like Fabian tactics in PvP, where you choose your engagements and you don't do a lot of one-on-ones. You wait until things are favorable and then you engage, or, you know, you wait for a group to be fighting and try and flank them and start doing a lot of AoE damage on them before they realize that you're there. You're not really meant to go toe-to-toe, so go for the damage, boo, because going for defensive tankiness isn't going to give you the ability to now go toe for toe. You're still at a disadvantage, so I would be cautious there. Soul Dancer, 9 fire, 5 water, 2 wind, 9 water, 5 fire, and 2 wind. There's a couple more of these. I actually saw somebody that was 9 wind. But I went ahead and just drove right on past that because I don't know what they're doing in that house there. AP doesn't even end up on their list because it doesn't affect their attack types at all. So it's just CDR, MS, and then crit, in my opinion. There's definitely going to be a little bit of debate around that. I've seen some Soul Dancers that go for super heavy damage, and I'm sure that they would probably do like MS, CDR, and then maybe crit. But it's... I would still put crit at the bottom of this list. You would have to argue with Petty for like a good 10 minutes before you convinced him that that was the best move there. In terms of the secondary substats and the stuff that, you know, you're really only going to be getting from doing gear transfers and everything, magic attack, magic defense, water attack, crit res, and then physical defense, and then any of the other elemental defenses. Soul Dancers have probably the best survivability in PvP outside of Blademasters. So you don't... you have the most flexibility. You can try and be super tanky. You can go for super damage. The world is really your oyster. You definitely get a lot more choice than everybody else at the party. Food looks like it's 2 minutes away, so we're gonna keep going. Gunslinger is 9 wind, 5 fire, 2 water, 9 fire, 5 wind, 2 water. Crit, AP, MS, CDR. That one feels a little bit tough for me. Because the game says that crit is the most important thing for gunslingers, but if AP works the same way for them that it does Blademasters, I would think that AP would be the best stat there. So I have a little contention myself on that one. They have good AoE and splash damage, so MS is really good for them. And their energy system doesn't lead to a whole lot of cooldown reduction being needed. This more impacts like your secondary skills and your mines and stuff. And while I'm sure there is some heady build out there for CDR gunslingers, you really don't need it for where most of your damage and everything is going to be coming from. So outside of very niche situations, I don't see why you would focus CDR as a gunslinger. But you can kind of choose between yourselves if you want to do AP or crit more and see how that plays out. Same thing with the substats on this one not being anything too crazy. You want physical attack, magic defense, physical defense, wind attack, crit res, and then elemental defenses. you won't really get anything from magic damage on this one, so you don't need magic attack, but you still want magic defense because you're gonna the other two ranged classes are not going to be your friend, and they're going to probably, you know, think, okay, well, I'm not gonna fight that Blademaster over there. Let me see if I can go get the gunslinger. So I would favor magic defense over physical defense for gunslingers, but that's just me personally. The delivery driver is calling me, so I literally have to go right now. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video, and I appreciate your faces. You gonna catch your boy in the next one. We out of here. Deuces.